Bare lige for at være på den sikre side. Er der nogen her, der har et problem med, at vi gør det på engelsk? Vi har en enkelt deltager, der ikke er så stærk på dansk, så jeg vil rigtig, rigtig gerne have lov til at gøre det på engelsk, så alle får så meget ud af det som muligt. Okay, cool. Alright, I'll see if I can switch and translate this on the fly. It's only this one that's in Danish. I am Peter. I'm a senior digital consultant at Nodes. I have the opportunity of telling you guys about the ultimate user experience. Let's see how far we get. About data. We'll touch upon that. Tech, new tech, what's moving there, and what are the opportunities you can mess around with in regards to creating this great user experience. So I've been working in the industry for above a decade, always with the focus on strategy, digital transformation and business development, but always with the focus on the end user, as in your customers. So I've been working on both sides of the table, been in the financial industry for 9-ish years, in one of the bigger Danish financial industries that have had washing machines in Estonia, I believe. Yeah, not there anymore. Been in another agency in Aarhus and now in Nodes. As Jakob said, I started here a couple of months ago. Really looking forward to this journey. I have a deep-founded passion for new tech, for the options of connecting through tech and creating these seamless experiences. And when we talk connection and we talk new tech, I have a question for you. Is there anything interesting or special about these two hands? No? Okay. So that would be my two hands. As you might notice, there's something between my thumb and finger in each hand. So I'm chipped, as you've probably heard a lot of people do. Not so many in Denmark yet. And I mean, this is brilliant. All the stuff you can do with this. Well, this one, I can open a door at home, and that's fine. It's basically the same as, the stuff on a key hanger where you can use it at your office and all that. If I had the option of actually coding my code into that, it would work. The other one is more interesting, and that's the one that's going to be the focus for the years to come, which is an Nfc chip. So mine is really set up nicely. If you want to see my LinkedIn profile, come by and press it again, your phone against this, and you can see my LinkedIn profile. So that's what I can do for it for now. Next steps on these will be payment, as in you can do with your card now where you just place it. You can implement that in a chip, the next version of that chip, which is just coming out now. So you don't need to bring anything. And the advantages, yeah, it hurts. But I mean, the advantages going onwards is, considering this thing is sort of like a key for me. I have a tendency to lose keys. I not yet have had a tendency to lose my hand, so there's some sort of security in that regard. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
When you go through the airport, you go through security.
Yeah.
Does it trigger
No.
the X-ray?
No. No, it's when we talk about this stuff, we're over in the biohacking area, and I mean there are people who, these are the small ones. They're 12 millimeters long and about the size of a rice grain. There are people who implement these large ones that basically are the size of your fist and require battery, and that's the challenge right now. How do we get batteries inside the body where we don't want them to actually work? So yeah. I'll try and bring it a bit down to more meaningful. I'm not sure a lot of you guys would like a chip in your hand just to be able to mess around with this. So to talk about what's the ultimate user experience and how to actually move to that point, we need to talk about what is a user experience and what is Omni-Channel and all these things. So in my opinion, user experience, what the users want is not to be disturbed. We want stuff to be convenient. We want to basically be able to do what we do without being annoyed when we want to do it and where we want to do it. Yeah. So creating this consistent experience in real time, as in, I want to do this right now, and I don't want to be bugged by my company that I'm interacting with. I just want it to work right now. Okay, and that requires the omni-channel approach. So omni-channel, the definition of that, this is the official Wikipedia definition, but I'd say you could drill that down, Thomas. I think there might be a couple of people out there. I think you can drill this down to basically saying it's the seamless experience, or as seamless as possible experience across any and all channels that your customers interact with or potentially interact with. Anyone has a different opinion on what Omni-Channel is? Cool. All right, so we're sort of aligned. So how did this start? Well, first of all, in the beginning, there was a single channel, or the first supermarket. That was in 1916. The first supermarket was created. You walk in, buy your stuff, go home. No other connection, there's no other channel. We stepped up to the 60s, and in the 60s, we started to hypersize the supermarket and create malls. So you had more channels in the same place. It was still offline, 100%, of course. It was the 60s. In the 90s, this happened. We started with the first retail e-commerce. So that was what we call Retail 3.0. We started to be able to sell stuff online on the desktop computer, and I mean, it worked. It was rough. I guess quite a few of us can remember it, but it worked. Where we are now is Omni-Channel, Retail 4.0. Or are we? How many in here are truly Omni-Channel? Okay, so what is written down here, that it's what we aspire to be. I take it that that's probably the more correct representation of this. So when we talk Omni-Channel, we not only talk the seamless experience across channels, we also, that's the customer experience part of it. From the company part of it, what we would like to do is talk data. So we have all these channels, cell phones, we have internet, fridges, television, smart televisions, computers, and all that stuff. All the data that we get from those sources, the way we can interact and use that data to present to our clients what they actually would like to see when they would like to see it, that's the other side of Omni-Channel. And that's something I'm sure Mikkel will probably touch upon, the data and the validity of that data and how we can actually use that in an ethical sort of way. By the way, you're all more than free to please interrupt me, ask questions, and so on at any point. All right, so that's where we are now. Retail 4.0. Coming up, Retail 5.0, the unified experience or connected customer experience or nirvana. So when we aspire for Omni-Channel, what we're truly aspiring for is this part over here. This is where every connection, every interface is just 100% completely seamless. The customer does not experience a shift in any way, shape, or form. They can do what they want, when they want to do it, in their own time, wherever they are, on any device. Yeah? Add on top of that, that everything is personalized. So they get the information they want to see right away. Okay?
From your perspective, which worldwide company is closest to the nirvana?
Apple. Google. You can discuss the ethics around Google, maybe around Apple as well. Facebook. I'm sure people know of a company called Cambridge Analytica and what happened there with the breach. And if I rewind a bit to the introduction of the three of us who are speaking, is GDPR a good or a bad thing? I've always been of the opinion, I've worked really in depth over the years with GDPR. Mikkel, please close your ears. It's a bad thing for marketing, but it's a really good thing for the end user. So we need to manage this data in the right way possible, yeah? Okay, so including in this is, right now we have a sort of an idea or are able to tap into the very, very short tail of when a customer becomes interested in our company, yeah? Facebook marketing and all the different sorts of analytics we can pull can show us that, okay, now you're in an attention phase in regards to this company. What also will come with this is predictive analytics, where you're able to say to me before, most likely, I know it myself, that I'm interested in your company, and that just provides new options. So why work with this, and why are nodes interested in this? Why is it important? Well, we're in a time right now where, yeah, I'll sum this down to the customer is king, yeah? The customer is to be considered the unique little snowflake And customer support, customer service, and experience in general needs to live up to that if we want to win the customer every time. If we don't, then I'm sure our customers will find someone who'll do it for us in the same niche as we're in. So the digitalization around this is becoming more and more ubiquitous. We're getting more and more used to it being everywhere, and it's becoming less fascinating for us to interact with tech because we're so used to it. And our clients and our clients' clients are as well. So how do we work around this? That's one of the whys as to why we're interested in this. It's absolutely the why as to why you guys should be interested in this. Many benefits here. What does the customer want, when the customer wants it, and where the customer wants it? That's one of the things we get out of Omni-Channel and the great user experience in that. It provides really good customer satisfaction. It lifts both the customer retention and the customer return rate. Your supply chain will be a hell of a lot more efficient if you tie everything together. Let's say you have a sort of a customer view where the product you're selling to your customers, you sell it to a customer, create a customer view where they're able to see the process, measurements, whatever we're talking about here, but your supply chain is able to see exactly the same view, so you have a single point of truth. You will bring down cost in regards to actually logistics, and everything will just go towards the nirvana state. Yeah? It's very lean. It gives you a competitive advantage, and yeah, allows for co-creation, real-time market response. You're able to track this a hell of a lot quicker and respond much earlier than you are now. Yep.
When you say co-creation, speak a little bit more about that, because I never heard.
Co-creation is, there are many ways of looking at co-creation. If we look at this from an IT perspective, and I'm going to come back to it, or as an organizational perspective, one of the key things to be able to move towards the excellent or the best-in-class user experience is to break down the silos in your organization. So marketing and IT need to talk together more than they're doing now. Marketing and sales and, well, every one of these silos need to bash holes in these walls and start talking and co-creating together. So the purpose should be the same, and get out of this it's us against them mindset that every organization has it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Stepping a bit on, why are we interested in this? Well, as Jakob mentioned, we started with Facebook apps 11 years ago with our two founders. They made probably most of the Facebook apps that were high level at that time. Market shifted, and Facebook apps were not really the thing anymore. It especially happened with this thing called smartphones coming in and app stores. So focus was set on mobile apps. That was the market at that point. That was where the market was moving, and Notes became a full service app agency. Last year, what happened was a really great Sitecore agency was brought in, so we're now full service app and web agency. So what we see our customers asking for is this unified experience where you take your web CMS and you bridge it with an app. So the two systems are generally right now typically seen as being difficult to communicate with each other, but it's becoming easier and easier. And the value you get out of it is massive. That's where you get the synergy effect, where you can track the user's first visit on your web page. They buy a product. When they buy a product, you push or nudge them towards downloading an app. When you have the app installed, everything happens here. You can bring in loyalty clubs and what have you not into the app, and you have the synergy effect of the data going between it. You can use web CMS as backend to some level. You can use it for personalization if that's built into the platform, and all these advantages. So you don't have two separate heavy systems anymore. You have one system with, let's call it a satellite system in regards to the app, but they communicate very well with each other. They're built for it.
Question. So if you're building, say, something that can configure a product for us, how easy would it be to make an app that does the same?
So you're asking me what it will cost?
Would the extra cost be?
Between $5,000 and $5,000. I think that's, based on the knowledge I know now, I think that would be the right answer for me. It's funny you ask, because one of the questions we get a lot is, not questions, but apps are really expensive. But they're not. I mean, if you have the website, you can use that perhaps as the backend, and use some sort of middleware layer, and then pull the data into the app and have the app and website communicate. So you basically just need to do the front end. I'm talking very general right now. And of course, it would require some sort of in-depth analysis to say specifically where are we. And to answer your question, I won't answer what it would cost. But anywhere between,
But it would be relatively.
Rasmus is going to kill me, or Jakob is going to kill me now, anywhere between 300 and 1,500 hours-ish.
Just a comment. Unfortunately, a lot of companies still see an app as an add-on,
Yeah.
as a value add. And in my opinion, that's a really big mistake. An app can be just as core to your business as a website, maybe even more in some cases. And it can be very crucial to your strategy, not just your digital strategy, but your strategy, if you know what kind of KPIs you are measuring and working with.
Yeah.
So we often still meet even big companies that think that an app is some kind of marketing thing.
Yeah, it's a gimmick.
Sometimes it is. For instance, we have just been asked if we will make an app for a sponsorship for a large sports event in Denmark, and that's perfectly fine. In that case, it is some kind of marketing gimmick. It has a very short period it has to live. But in other cases, it has a really big impact. There is 7 times higher chance of churn or selling a product through an app than through a website.
Yeah.
The big issue with an app, where it really needs marketing for that matter, is when we talk about getting people to download it.
Exactly.
So just a
Yeah.
comment.
So just to follow up on what Jakob just said, in case you're unsure about the effects of an app, what's the average conversion rate on web globally? 2.5 to 3%. Okay. What's the average conversion rate on an app globally? 40%. So do the math. It's a good business. So the challenge is moving your client or your customers from web to the app. It's a lot easier to find the web than it is to find the app if you don't do any marketing around it. But can you come up with the hook that actually moves your customer over? Be it a loyalty club. I was actually going to bring it up as one of the new things in tech. Loyalty clubs in regards to apps are the new black. And it's a really, really good way of getting into your client's pocket, not just when they want, but whenever you want, because you're able to push notifications to them. And before people say, yeah, but people would just disallow the notifications, that was true in 2016. Now we're talking upwards of 75% of all installs accepting notifications on your phone. Then it's up to you to ensure that you're not drowning people in notifications, because that'll result in one thing: uninstall app. Okay? Cool. Let's step on. So how? So if anyone is interested in this new tech, now is the time to pay attention. I've brought 4 trends, and I'll try and see if I can talk around how they can be used. We'll have a look at it. Augmented reality. I guess most people in this industry have seen IKEA's app. Next level version of this is like you can do in Instagram stories now, where you're able to click on the product and basically have pop-ups come up all around the products where you can buy them directly from there. Next level is using the same stuff that IKEA are doing, which is extremely simple. Place a product in a physical location, but from there add on click to buy. Yeah. Advantages of this: you can work with this and just keep on coming up with new concepts to the level where you want to move into a new market. You don't have any stores there. Okay, we'll create an augmented reality showroom that your client can pop up at home and buy from. That's sort of next level. You can also use this for catwalks at home. You can use it for, I don't know, try on your shoe. Nike have an app where you're able to just go like this with the phone, and you can see the shoe you want to have a look at on your own foot. The options are limitless in this regard. You could take a kitchen and actually place it in the room where you want to have it and see it with the right surfaces and everything. You'd be able to open the drawers and everything. You can interact with this stuff. And yeah, of course, you're walking around with a phone like this and trying to sort of click the phone to be able to work it. But you guys know Oculus, I guess. This looks stupid, I know. You can also just use one of these. Now, Oculus is, okay, I'm getting a bit dizzy from looking at this. Oculus is these smart glasses, HoloLens and that sort of thing, Google glasses, and they're exceedingly expensive. This one is a pre-launch version, but the real version, which just came out, has a camera on the side as well, cost 600 kroner. And it can do 75% of everything. So you'd be able to have a hands-free experience at home, viewing your kitchen or furniture or whatever it is. You focus on what you want to interact with, leave it there for a couple of seconds, and it activates. So you don't need to click anything either. This is just one example. There are many, many, many in this niche that are coming out with these sorts of glasses. And if you're going to look into it, please give us a call and let us tell you which ones not to look into, because I wouldn't go for these either. This is just an example of what tech is coming up. Next level of them, which are coming out now at a high price as well, looks exactly like your glasses. Normal, completely normal glasses. The only difference is the stem on the one of the sides is a little bit thicker than normally. Pricing, around 6,000-7,000 kroner. Okay, you can you can try a new hair color. You can try a new cut or whatever in augmented reality. It's all possible. I left this thing over here. Questions in regards to augmented reality? No, all right. Internet of Things. This is one of the things where it's so cheap, it's ridiculous. And the benefits you can get out of using Internet of Things, or specifically iBeacons or any sort of proximity marketing hardware, it's so cheap. And I mean, you can buy 4 of these for under 2,000 kroner, have a developer develop the functionality or tie it together with your app, and when a customer comes close to your store, you can actually hit them up to 500 meters away. 4 in a large store, let's say Søstrene Grene, take your store, plant 4 there, you have a meshed grid. You can, first of all, communicate with the client. You can use it as an assistant or a PA in your client's or your customer's pocket. But you can also, of course, track every single step that they do in there. Yeah? And they're cheap. So this is, I'm not at all in doubt that that's going to explode. Voice. So voice right now is considered by many, not so much in Denmark yet, maybe due to language, it's the next internet. And I mean, this is our head of voice, I believe his title is, Martin, a Dutch guy who's coming up here on Internet Week Denmark for an event as well and speaking. And I'm passionate about voice. This guy's, yeah, look at the picture. He's really, really passionate about it. So right now we're at a recognition state where the artificial intelligence behind recognizes roughly around 95% of what we say. When this hits 99%, it's gonna explode. It's gonna go ubiquitous, and there's one thing that's gonna happen. The interface that we will be interacting with disappears. There won't be an interface. There's no need to. You just speak and get whatever you want to have done. Finally, artificial intelligence. Sorry, Mars Copenhagen, we're using Hinds and Maurits for now. So this is actually a screenshot we took yesterday. Hinds and Maurits have this customer/loyalty app with an artificial intelligence, and you can argue there's artificial intelligence in everything. But the specifics here are you take your app, open it, you go to take a picture, and you snap a picture of a dress or a pair of pants or a person or a building or whatever, and the machine learning and artificial intelligence in this will tell you, okay, so what you took a picture at resembles this mostly. Okay? So if you have a style, I like, I'm a bad example, I like gray and yellow and pink stripes. I can take a picture of that and I'll be told, okay, there's this. Now, this is just a typical e-commerce thing. What if you coupled this to an in-store version of it, where you can switch the app to in-store when you're in a specific store, and you'd be notified, so yeah, this is the version you had, or this is the picture you took, this is the stuff that we would seem to have similarly to yours, but we have it in this store, in these sizes. Now, that what if is not a what if, that's how the app works. So that's where you're talking, bringing everything and tying everything together. So you have the web, where they use the web to get the client in, buy something, and then nudge them, or to have the app. But there are advantages for the client, and that's the whole idea. There needs to be something for a client to say, okay, I'm gonna install this because I get this out of it. If not, they won't install it. So these are 4 very, very individual things. So I'm just right away gonna say the ultimate user experience is not saying, okay, let's use augmented reality. It's starting to look into everything. The whole palette of what's in tech, and figuring out your customer journey and tying together what you need when you need it, okay? So how, on a pure process level? Right now, what we do, all of us, is think, oh, we can do this thing with tech. Let's do it and force it down our clients' throats. Yeah? It's the complete wrong way of doing it. We need to look at our customer journey, and we need to look at which customer experience we want to create that will help our clients. I'm just going to say it, you could ask your clients and figure out what they actually want that way, and then figure out which tech or systems they need. Yeah, so we're turning it on its head, basically. So I mentioned it previously. We need to build organizational structures that work together, that co-create, that collaborate across channels. We need to break down these silos that are stopping us from being able to have this lean mindset and being able to push forward to take leaps in front of our competitors. And yeah, I definitely recommend close coordination with IT if you don't want to burn your fingers. All right, so stay on top of performance. I mentioned it in the start, data. Figure out your KPIs. There are many, many frameworks. Perfect timing. We personally use SMART. So less is more, it says. I see companies come to us with 20, 30, 40, 50 KPIs. Please stop, delete everything, start over. Give me 3 to 5. But your KPIs need to be SMART. They need to be specific, measurable. They need to be attainable, realistic, and they need to be time constrained. It's fine you say, I want to be the world's leading when what you have is a store down by the corner. It's not realistic. So you need to basically look at it from the point of view, can we actually reach these KPIs within the next year? And to have the KPIs, to have something to measure it on, use metrics. This can be as simple as going into Google and figuring out which metrics. Now, I've put vanity there and put a line through it. I hear companies that have a key performance indicator of, I would like to have more pages per visit. Brilliant. What's the value in that? So give me 10 minutes and I'll, pardon my French, fuck up the navigational structure and double the amount of pages per visit you have. It'll give a poor experience, perhaps upset customers, but that KPI will be met. So actionable metrics could be pages per visit, but it needs to be put into context in regards to what your customer are doing. So you shouldn't go to this with the mindset that said, okay, we want to look at the traffic. That shouldn't be a KPI. We want to look at the traffic to a specific page, perhaps. We want to look at time to completion. So how many users come into a given page and have a checkout flow or a contact form that they need to fill out? What's the time it takes for them to go through these steps? And then optimize on that. Bring it down if it makes sense, if the context is right. And please, how many in here know your customer lifetime value? Okay, it's not out of the normal. Please look into your customer lifetime value. Your customer lifetime value will tell you exactly what your customer will pay to be a client at your place over their entire lifetime. Lifetime as in the time that they're in contact with you. So if you're selling kitchens, I'm guessing 8 to 20 years or something like that, a client will buy a new kitchen if they move or if the house becomes too old typically. If we're talking Søstrene Grene, I'm fairly sure that someone will go up and buy something maybe every week, maybe every day, some differ. But look into that. It'll tell you how much money you get in. It'll tell you how much money you're able to spend per client to give them this customer experience. There we go. So customers expect these connected journeys. Tuck. I think I skipped one. Yeah, own your data. Get your data under control. We're talking in the future, well, we're already talking multiple data sources. How many correlate all those data into one view? Not a lot. And this is by no means a problem. Well, it's a problem, but it's no means out of the ordinary. So if you can bring everything into one place, maybe use a data management platform or some place that can correlate your data and give you a very, very clear view of the entire customer journey based on statistics. That'll allow you to really dive into both profiling of a client, and that's where Mikkel starts to move a bit uneasily in the chair, and thus being able to personalize across every channel. Yeah? But the Holy Grail is not locked at that point. So if you spend, let's say, 200,000 a month bringing traffic into your site, what percentage do you spend on optimizing where your clients land? What we generally hear is below 1%. So if I have 100,000 coming in, I have this average conversion of 2.5%. If I double the amount of traffic coming in, my conversion will drop to half of that. If I optimize, I can lift the conversion instead. Math. I think I need to.
We are in the process of owning our own data.
Yep.
And I'm from a kitchen company. I don't think I have a small budget for stuff like that.
Nope.
But looking into having a data management platform, that could be a challenge to find the budget for that.
Yeah.
Right now. And regarding the theme here, what I've concluded is that to have the real possibility to own our own data, we have to be omni-channel.
Yep.
Right? Because then the budgets will shift to a much more high level budget for our sales system, for example. If we get any of our CRM working with our stores,
yep,
connecting that with marketing data, that would be when we can do the data management. But right now, I'm in the marketing department, yep, and I want to own my marketing data. And this is a huge issue for me, because I am working with data and customer experiences and journeys.
Yep.
But I actually don't have the unified tool for it.
So just, if you don't mind, a little secret. I used to work at the agency where Mikkel is now a client. Tip, and it goes for the whole Omni-Channel thing. Start in a small place. Learn to walk before you can run. So I know what the cost of data management platforms as such are, and it's huge. Less can do it. I mean, you can move halfways there and be able to, group some data together, and from then on expand when it makes sense, when you've proven your business case in that regards. Then you can expand on it, because it is, if we talk pure data management platform, the cost it's not insignificant. All right,
just an input to just that question. I've worked for Danske Bank for quite some years. Now Danske Bank is also a big client of Notes. We've built their entire web system on Sidecore and also their CRM. For Danske Bank, the big change when they used both moving to Sidecore, of course, moving to a way better system than what they had previous. But another thing that really made a difference for them was to use it for the CMS part, mm-hmm, because that meant that the data across, the content management part, because that meant that the data across were from the same place, no matter whether it was web or whether it was app or whether it was email or whatever it was. So they actually took it a step back. Instead of just talking about how to get the data out, they were also looking into making sure that it came from one place, so we didn't have to go in 3, 4, 5 places to create a campaign or target certain groups or whatever, they could do it in one place for all their platforms. And that really made a difference.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, you're in a good place. You're already on Sitecore. So being able to use it as a content delivery network, having the data joined, being able to personalize and profile across that way, it's a good place to be. It's a good starting point. It's a really good starting point. 1 minute and I'm done. So how do you create this excellent user experience? You break down your business silos. You customize. You keep pushing limits in regards to tech. What can we deliver to our clients that they're expecting? And the bottom one here, data. Protect it, for God's sake. You don't want to be another Cambridge Analytics or someone like that. Because the amount of data you're going to see coming in over the next years is going to, I don't know how many times it's going to multiply, but it's going to be a lot. So that was a lot of words in a very short time. Any questions here at the end?
It's okay to ask in Danish.
Yeah,
if that
by all means.
means more questions.
Yeah.
Can we get the slides afterwards?
Yes, I believe we do.
Well, then I would have a question
Yep.
regarding the Sitecore. Having that as a data management platform, for example, for our customer data, how secure is that?
Sitecore is so secure that you can use it to build a web bank.
Yeah.
And if there's something where you need a secure environment, it's when it's people's money that you
Is
protect,
something
right?
in Sitecore that some security system? But it's
You
or
can
it's
always
something that you
build
build
on external security systems or third-party security systems, but there are parts of Sitecore which covers that as well.
How about GDPR?
Sitecore is per definition GDPR compliant, and this is actually one of the things I just wrote down because I don't like the question we always get whether it's GDPR compliant, because that is just whether you live up to the law.
Yeah.
It's just as much on how can you then use it to something meaningful as well. But of course we have to, as a minimum, live up to the law or regulation.
The thing is that I'm not asking if it's compliant.
Yeah.
The thing is I want a button where I can delete the user.
You can create that. The problem is often that you have data in more than one place. So it's very much dependent on what is underneath. But of course you can make a system where you say, okay, we need to delete this user. It means that we have to delete this and that amount of data. Deleting a user does not necessarily mean that you delete all the history. For instance, if you're Danske Bank, you still need to keep old credit agreements, even though they are cancelled. You have by law, you have to keep them for a certain amount of years, etc., etc. So there will be a certain amount of data that you need to keep. Nonetheless, you have to delete everything that you don't have any use for, or any right to have any longer. And that's a difficult one.
But I think just to wrap that up, if you want to chat a bit more about it, I'd recommend you have a talk with Rune, who's sitting over there at the end. He's the guy, our expert, and the guy behind Danske Bank Mobile Pay. No, to have a chat about him. Question?
That's also basically about Sitecore and
Yep.
GDPR.
Yep.
But if we are in the unlucky situation that we have a user calling us and saying they would like everything we have on them in a writable format, or readable format, how do you do that?
I'm not sure about what GDPR says in that regards, because I don't think that is a GDPR requirement, necessarily. So it depends on if you want to live up to what GDPR says, or if you want to live up to what the customer wants.
Does GDPR not say?
I'm not sure about that.
You have a right to access to your own data.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, yeah.
Probably what the customer is asking for there.
Yeah.
Yes, and as far as I know, it's supposed to be delivered in a common format.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so define common format.
Yes,
Is
but
it that
still,
text file
how do
or-
we do it in,
Yeah.
Sitecore?
It really depends. For instance, in Danske Bank, because that's what I know the best in regards to this. If it's that big, at least, it's not Sitecore that delivers it. It's now it gets a bit technical, but you have a lot of backend systems which delivers a certain amount of data, and then they have made a way of collecting it and deciding what needs to be
I'm just
presented to
thinking
the
that
user.
if Sitecore is GDPR compliant, then
Yeah.
we use Sitecore for web. Then we have a way in our Sitecore system to get this data out.
Which version of Sitecore you on?
No idea.
Yeah, so just adding to that, so in Sitecore there's the opportunity to actually mark the data that is falls within GDPR and that we need to pull out. So that way there's functionality in Sitecore that allows you to pull the entirety of this data out as well as delete it. The product you need to implement yourself, but functionality is within Sitecore to actually prune all the data.
But you still need a way to present it, and that is up to you to define how you want to do that. There is no specifics on how you are supposed to present it. There is something very vaguely about it needs to be an editable format or something like that, and that's it. I think Danske Bank chose a PDF, which is very little editable, but nonetheless, they were like, well, that probably covers it. So it's still interpretation because, yeah.
Again, it's probably not going to be a problem for us, but it's just in the strange case where it would happen. It would be nice to know how to actually do
If you have trouble, give us a call.
Yeah.
You may be a little clever on that in a few months' time. Actually, I'm joining an inspection from the Danish Data Protection Agency in 16th of May on a mid-sized company, and all what they are focusing on from the Data Protection Agency is actually the access right. How have they met the access right from the customers, and all these interpretation of is it in a editable format and all this. So it remains to be seen in real life in very short time actually.
Does the company know you're coming? Does the company know you're coming?
I spent quite a lot of time on that.
Any final question? No. Excellent.
I have one.
Yes, go on.
You mentioned this about unified experience.
Yep.
And underneath it says Nirvana.
Yep.
How do you see that? Is that Nirvana from a company perspective, or is it also from a customer perspective? Because we see a lot of what is within the unified area met with fear when we talk about end users.
Yeah. So, and this is completely on me. We're talking two separate scenarios that are very, very similar. As a company, yeah, it's definitely Nirvana because we'll be able to know everything about our customers within what GDPR states we can and be able to do everything with that data. And that's what terrifies, basically, our clients or our customers' customers. The problem is our customers also want to not be disturbed, so they want the unified experience. And I'm fairly sure that Chris might cover it as well, that customers are very, very willing to give their data away the second we can provide this convenience and everything just working without disturbing the client. I mean, you see it all the time in discussions about privacy as well, that we are all so privacy concerned until the second that we need to open our phone and actually do something where privacy becomes a hindrance. Then we don't really care about privacy anymore. It's the same with data. Yeah, we want to know what our data is used for, but the second we know that this is done to actually help us, we'll give that data up in a heartbeat. That's my opinion of it anyway. And that's what I see in the market as well. Does that answer?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Cool.
Just a question to everybody here. How many of you are in a company where you have a business and an IT department, where that's divided in two different things? Do you feel that there is a good communication between those two parties and that you do co-creation?
We're working on it.
Our IT guy is also in the sales department.
Because this is, especially in large companies, this is very often a big obstacle. They are often aware of it, but in a lot of scenarios today, even though you have a company where the core of the company is not IT related, you might sell a physical product. It could be a kitchen or something else. IT or digital solutions are starting to become pretty core to that anyway. So it means that even though you have a physical product, the digital channels become more and more core to that physical product. And that means that these two, dividing these two in two different organizations are often a hindrance. And that's why we start talking more and more with our clients about the combination of your strategy, as in where are you going as a company, and your digital strategy.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't match them up, it's fine you have both, but if you can't match them up and say how the digital strategy supports your company strategy, then you have an issue.
Of course, we have an IT department which also has using reality stuff. But our company, we have combined product development with the marketing part, where we do a lot of digital activities.
Yeah.
And that is promising.
Yeah.
So we're looking into how we can support the products in a digital way. Could maybe consider.
Cool. I'll wrap up and give you guys a small break. And absolutely.
You're saying about the loyalty apps or
Yeah.
loyalty programs that it's definitely still part of the future.
Yeah.
But what I experience now with loyalty programs, 90% is discount driven.
Yeah, it depends. What's loyalty?
Our
I agree a lot. I'd say 90% maybe, or around that. But it's a matter of, again, it's back to, and yeah, we can help you with it. But it's a matter of finding that hook that creates the value for the customer. That means the customer can't live without it. I'm an avid coffee drinker. Most used app at the moment is espresso houses, because it's, again, convenient and it's seamless. I go in, I say, give me coffee, and they go, yeah, scan your app, beep, done. I don't need to do anything. I don't even need to basically look at it, just need to open the app. So is that a loyalty app? Maybe. I mean, you're given something if you use it, but it's a matter of finding those hooks.
Just a quick comment. Anyone who has Espresso House app, no, because it's actually a good example on how you can screw up value add.
Yeah, yeah.
It really works well.
Yeah,
It really
too well.
But for me, notes, maybe all my employees, we hated when they introduced it. Why? Because Espresso House was really smart. They decided that when they went from this paper where you got like these marks every time or stamps every time you bought your coffee, you now used the app and you got a stamp every time you bought something. So we went from when we bought 4 cups of coffee, we got 4 stamps, to buying 4 cups of coffee, getting 1 stamp. So our value add going from a piece of paper to an app became lower. Pretty smart for Espresso House, not very smart for us. And we argued a lot with them every time, but they're just, poor employees at the counter, so they just have to follow the rules.
Pro tip, bring your own cup, you get
But
2
that's
stamps.
a good example of just going digital is not enough necessarily.
Yeah.
Thinking about what you do with your value add is very important. In this case, I'm pretty sure they have thought about it and thought, okay, we get a bit of noise to begin with. After that, we save a lot of money, probably. But it's just to say that you really have to think careful. And discounts is not necessarily the only kind of value add that you can give through an app or through any other experience.
Exactly.
The iBeacon, the whole in-store experience, making it digital, has potential to give that value add as well, maybe even more.